Welcome to our next segment in County Connection. I'm Dave Rossi here with Commissioners Blanchard, Pogue, and Lawrence, and we are continuing our discussion about the budget, which is actually really exciting because Elizabeth, one of the things that you guys like to talk about is transparency and community engagement. So when it comes to the budget, which is not always the most exciting topics, there's still community involvement. There's still opportunities to get some input and feedback from members of the community. Tell us about, with the budget, our advisory committee.
Sure. Well, and I'll also add, every second and fourth Tuesday at our meetings, people can provide public comment on the budget.
Absolutely.
It is an open hearing until we close that, I want to say December 9th-ish, right around there.
Yeah, that's right.
But yes, for the second year in a row, we had a community advisory committee on the budget. Last year we had a really large group. This year it was really narrowed down. So huge shout out to two community members, Bruce Butler and Chris Dorton, for all of their work and volunteer time spent doing this. And they really helped go over the budget, understand community priorities, and they both have financial expertise and so could really bring that to it while working with our new finance director, David Reynolds. This was his first year to do our budget for Summit County government, and he is doing an excellent job. I mean, just in the way that he makes things easy for folks to understand, because budgets can get really complicated, especially with county government, and that we have voter approved funds, and we need to make sure we stick with those priorities, and we have this and we have that, and the mill levy rates adjusted, et cetera, et cetera. It gets really complicated. So we're glad to have another set of eyes, people that are spending their time working with us and their priorities as well, and speaking for the community.
That's fantastic. Well, I will stay away from the budget. I'm no good with numbers. Tamara, one of the things that we mentioned earlier was lease to locals, and that was in our budget. This is year 2 coming up for Lease to Locals, and could you tell us a little bit about that program briefly, but also talk about some of the things that happened last year with some of the numbers, and how successful was it?
Yeah, it turns out it was an incredibly successful program. You know, when we started working on our housing plan 18 months ago now, I think it was, we wanted to have some short-term strategies, middle-term, and long-term. So the building strategies are definitely long-term. Middle strategies are things like changing our housing code to make it easier for folks to build, our accessory dwelling unit program that I've already talked about. In the short-term bucket, we really had 2 major strategies. The first was buying and converting hotels. That's why we've done Alpine Inn and the Loge, and we're working on another one. But the other program that has perhaps gotten less attention than the hotels is our Lease to Local program. And in that program, we basically incentivize short-term rental owners to rent long-term to locals instead. We're one of the few communities on the Western Slope that's really invested in this strategy. And originally we tried it just to sort of see if it works. And the answer was it really does work. So right now, going into our second year, we have 70 units available for locals. You know, just to sort of quantify that, if we had to build that at about $500,000 a unit, well, I can't do math in my head, but you get my point. It's a lot of money. And these units, the average incentive is about $6,000 a unit, or a bedroom, sorry. So much more affordable than building, much faster than building. And we have about 140 people housed in those 70 units. So we're really excited about that program to see it work and work quickly. I'll just read you really quickly a quote from one of the renters. This program allowed me to both rent a livable space and had a rent cost where I wasn't considered cost burdened. Cost burden means paying more than 30% of your income to your rent. He goes on, without this rental, there was a very slim chance I was going to return to my job of 5 years in Summit County. The county should expand that program. So thank you, Corey B., for your quote in support of the program. You know, one of the criticisms that we've gotten of this program is that it only helps short-term rentals convert. It really doesn't help our long-term rental owners. And I agree with that quote quite frankly. Unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do to really incentivize long-term rentals. That's something that the state would have to do through property taxes. And while we collect property taxes for the state, we really don't have any control over the way property taxes are administered in the state. So I've been working with Representative McCluskey to try and find some ways to actually help incentivize our long-term rental owners. And we haven't found a way to do it yet. We're a Tabor state, so that makes things very complicated in the property tax space. But we're working on it, and hopefully in the next session or the session after that, we'll find a strategy to move forward with that as well.
That's great. So how would people who own units in Summit County take advantage of the program?
That is a great question. There is a website, leasetolocals.com. Hopefully someone can put it on the screen because I'm sure I've gotten that right. But if you are interested in either making your property part of this program, or if you're a renter and you're also interested in learning about how you might rent one of these units, you can go to that website and get more information.
That's fantastic. We'll also put more information for the public up on our social channels and more information at the end of this video, thanks to our amazing producing team here. So let's talk a little bit about some things that we have been doing. We announced last time on this program, County 101, which is a program designed to bring some of the more meaty topics that need a little bit more, a little bit more community education perhaps, or topics that are of interest to residents in our community. And we kicked it off, Josh, with you doing a panel on water and drought. That happened last week. We had a great turnout for that, and the video is now available on our YouTube channel. Talk to us about that real quickly, but I also have a citizen question for you, so hopefully it won't be too tricky.
Sure. Well, we did kick off the County 101 series last week. The title was Understanding Water Challenges in Colorado and in Summit County. And a special thank you to our Colorado River District Rep, Taylor Hawes, who helped organize the panel and brought in experts across the state to really help us get into sort of a broad perspective of water issues across the state and across the 7-state Colorado River District region, but also specific to Summit County. To your point, we had a great turnout. We were hoping for maybe a dozen folks. We had about 50 or more show up, and a lot of people that this was their first foray into discussions about water. So some good community questions. And lots of good suggestions on topics for future 101s that we'll be hosting. And again, just really good feedback that the county as an entity that works on these issues all the time is reaching out into the community to have that engagement. And so I look forward to tomorrow at Elizabeth's and my future 101s as well. And again, folks can check out that YouTube on our YouTube channel. Can watch the discussion. Again, lots of people from all over the county came out and participated, and it was a great kickoff to what I think will be a good series.
Yeah, that was a great event. I enjoyed being there. I think all the panelists did a great job, and if people weren't there, it is really worth checking out the video because there's a lot of information on what the impacts are with water in Summit County and what the future looks like with our changing climate. So Elizabeth, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about...
Hey, you didn't ask the question.
I thought you had a
You were
question.
going to ask a question, Dave.
Citizen question.
Citizen
Wow, the
question.
citizen question. Okay,
Can't miss
thank you
that.
for that. I'm going to change it so I can make it really hard, but nah, I
Are
won't
you
do that.
asking Josh?
I am asking.
Okay.
I am asking Josh, but Josh has the
I was a
right
little
to.
worried. I was a
We
little
were a
worried.
little worried on
I was
that
going to get a water question, and I don't like.
Well, I don't know. It's
Not that
Josh's
serious.
option whether he wants to deflect to either of you to
This sounds
really.
like a fun game show
Yes,
option.
yes. There isn't
phone a
money
friend.
involved, but maybe next time we'll do it
50-50.
with candy or
Yeah.
something like that.
Sounds great.
Okay, Josh, thank you for that reminder, by the way. Josh, I got an email right before County 101 from a citizen, actually a second homeowner, who wanted to know about the Old Dillon Reservoir. So that is the little body of water that's underneath the dam, correct? So her question is, who owns that water?
Sure, that's a great question. That didn't necessarily come up, I don't think. So there's partial shares with Summit County government, the towns of Silverthorne and Dillon. There's different types of shares. It's complicated, but Summit County owns the majority of shares. These are municipal shares. And so folks can rest assured that that's yet another reservoir and resource of water for Summit County.
That's fantastic. We won't get into water law here.
Oh, but I have a follow-up question.
Oh, okay,
And I
yes.
probably wouldn't have gotten that one right.
Okay.
But Josh, we've been talking a lot about water for Lake Hill, and we are moving
Great
forward
question.
that project. So is that where the water is going to come from?
The
for Lake
water
Hill?
could absolutely come from there.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's
Sorry
a short
about that.
garden hose just up the...
That's right.
Yeah.
Very inexpensive.
That's great. We'll be purchasing those at Lowe's real soon.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So if I'm clear to move ahead to the next
Yes.
question,
Yes.
have
You
I
can
missed
move on.
anything, you
Nope,
guys?
we're good.
All right, fantastic. Elizabeth, tell us real quickly about the child care investment from the county. Back in the budget, not to go back to that, but I want to make sure we cover what's going on with our investment in child care
Sure.
and Silverthorne
Yeah,
specifically.
so budget related, similar to what Josh talked about, strong future funds. We had set aside funds to build a center on the north end of the county. This was a big part of the Strong Future campaign. Of course, it got sidetracked due to COVID, unfortunately, but we are building it now. There's construction going on near the base of the Smith Ranch neighborhood in Silverthorne. So this project is in conjunction with the town of Silverthorne, who provided the land, and the county's building it, and Silverthorne's contributing as well. And we're super excited. We have an operator. It's going to be called the Wildflower Forest Preschool. And it's being built right now. It'll be a nature-based preschool center serving infants to pre-K. It will open at the end of next summer. I'm just going to say next September 1st.
Okay.
Okay?
Hey.
You just
Excellent.
gave them a little bit of extra time. What is a nature-focused center?
Yes, I think it's really taking the best of what we have in Summit County, and through exploratory play and using our natural world to entice the senses of children and use that as a way to teach them. How did I do?
Sounds great.
Signed my
Okay,
kids up.
great.
Yep.
Yeah.
All of us have at one point had small kids in preschool. I think we would have loved it. Regardless, we're excited to have another child care center here. So that will be opening next fall. It's being built as we speak. But also, another decision of this board is we had some land set aside, as Tamara talked about, finishing the last piece of winter green over in Keystone. Tamara had brought that up, that we're going to build, I think this year in next year in 2023 will be the final piece of wintergreen. With that, we're also going to build a child care center. So we're in the early planning phases right now.
Great.
To look at that. We're really excited. So that will probably be a 2024 build that will also provide some additional slots. So both of these should help cover about 100 kids in total.
Wow,
great.
that's fantastic. The nature-based child care center. I think I went to the sugar-based one as a child, given my habits with Lucky Charms. Let's talk about what's coming up with the county. You guys just had a discussion with management, and you guys decided that it was important for the county to begin bringing wages up to meet the 100th percentile of prevailing wages from the salary study. Who wants to take that one on?
Oh, me? You're putting me? Okay, I'll take that one on. It's no secret, but we've been having a hard time delivering on the basic services that we owe this community, that we promised to deliver for this community. We have a great staff at Summit County government. They have all been working as hard as they possibly can, but in some of our departments where you have like 70% vacancies, it's really hard for them to be able to do what they need to do. So we've seen wages increase all across Summit County. We've seen wages increase all across the state, really, particularly in the high country. And when we did our latest salary survey, it really showed that we were significantly below the rest of the market. So we have increased our whole pay scale, $4 across the board. And since we did that, we've actually seen a pretty significant increase in the number of applications that we have receiving. So, particularly for 911 and our landfill, CDL, plow, and Summit stage drivers, we're seeing an increase in applications, which is great because we definitely want to get those positions filled. But we also wanted to recognize how hard our staff has worked through COVID to keep this community running and operating in an incredibly changing landscape, where nothing looks the same way 2 years later that it did 2 years earlier. So our hope is also that it helps our employees that have been with us for a long time be more sustainable in Summit County so that they can make Summit County more sustainable.
Great, and I will mention that over at the landfill, they have a training program. If you don't have your CDL license, they will train you so you can get one, which I think is a great way to get on board if you are interested in driving heavy equipment over at the landfill. If I'm not mistaken, that's one of your hobbies.
One of my specialties, really. I mean, many of our jobs at Summit County have some kind of a training program. 911 has a training program. We will train folks to get their CDLs. The landfill has a training program. The state sheriff's office has a training program. So yes, just because you might not have done one of these jobs before doesn't mean that you shouldn't take the time to apply.
Fantastic. Josh, are there any favorite positions that we have open that we want to call a position of the week, for example? What's an opening that you...
What is Commissioner Blanchard's position of the week?
Well, I think, there are we have a lot of critical positions in Summit County, and really every position in some way, shape, or form is critical because every position is in service to our residents and our guests here in Summit County. One department that's at the center of all of this is our HR department. Yeah. They're negotiating and going through these applications and working. So there's a couple of positions that are open in HR. So if you like people and you want to be a part of the team, there are some great positions there. But we've already mentioned some departments, that provide livable wages, great benefits, and occasional fun. So come and be a part of the team in Summit County government.
So if people want to apply for any of these open positions, it's summitcountyco.gov/jobs. Great. So as we transition, in elegant transitions here, I'm really good at those. Let's go right into, at the end of the month, of course, Halloween is coming up, and there's going to be a lot of people out and about. We have now over in public health a whole list of vaccination opportunities for people to get flu and boosters. Talk about that, Elizabeth.
Sure. So on Friday afternoon, Zoe and I, we always go to public health every year to get our flu shots. But this year we did something a little different. We went and got our COVID boosters on Friday afternoon. So we did it in tandem. There were some very nice nurses there. We sat at the same time, opposite arms. It was a very special bonding moment for my daughter and I. But we got those COVID boosters painless. I was a little worried, am I going to have a reaction? I'm one of those people, I do get reactions. Nothing. It was great. And so knock on wood, that was great. No reaction, really easy, super exciting. And folks can sign up on our website the same website that you could sign up for other vaccines through the CoMassVax site. We'll link it on there. Sure. But basically through public health, you can sign up. You can go to the public health building. I think they're open 6 days a week right now to get your boosters. And it's really easy to do. You just walk upstairs. It just takes a few minutes. And then folks can also get those at their local pharmacies, I believe, are also offering those boosters. We'll also have the vaccine bus here in Summit County coming up, I believe, this week on some certain days. And so that comes from the state. Again, we're grateful for our partnership with the state, CDPHE, which is the State Department of Public Health and Environment, as well to help us staff these locations.
I can't read off the URL for the website, but it is in public. It is under public health, and the schedule. They're always adding new days, and every week they do come up. So are people combining their shots, the flu vaccine, along with the booster? You can do that.
The one I went to was just COVID booster specifically, but I know other folks that have gone, and sometimes they combine them both, and you can get one in each arm at the same time.
Great.
I would have done that, but instead I've got flu shot this week.
And I believe the CDC just released their new guidance on vaccination for children. And so we urge people to check that out and get all the information that they can on how they can protect themselves and their family. I don't have anything else to talk about today. I'm sure I could find something, but if you guys don't have anything, it's been another great County Connection. Thanks to everybody, and join us next time for County Connection. I'm Dave Rossi with Josh Blanchard, Tamara Pogue, and Elizabeth Lawrence, County Commissioners. We're so excited that you were here today. We'll see you again soon.